Go ahead and get started. Happy Wednesday. You made it halfway through the week. That's awesome. And this is our first live session for yoga, which is exciting. My name is Caitlin. I am a certified yoga teacher. If you were part of the Renew You program, you may have recognized me from Meditation Mondays, as I'm a certified meditation teacher as well. And so I'm happy, that you guys are here today. We're doing a 45-minute class, which will be recorded, so you can check in later if you don't have time to stay today or don't have time to stay for the whole video. We're going to move nice and slow today. We're going to keep it somewhat simple and gentle. Just, I don't know you yet and you don't know me. With this being our first session, we will kind of dive in slowly. So if you are not already in a comfortable seated position, I would invite you to do that now, either cross-legged here in Sukhasana, or you can bring heel to pelvis and heel to ankle, if that works better for you. This is Siddhasana. If it's not comfortable to be cross-legged, you can always come to a reclined position to start, but we will be elevated after we do our intro meditation. So finding your comfortable spot. Hands can come naturally on the knees, the tops of the thighs, down on the ground in front of you if that feels more comfortable. And I'd invite you to just close your eyes as we start tapping into the breath, giving a physical act of permission to the body to take off our daytime hat and slip into our yoga hat or on our yoga mat. So we are inhaling in through the nose, down into the belly, sitting up nice and tall. If after a moment you find that your spine is not quite compatible yet to sitting in a seated position, and so you might be rounding a little bit in the spine, bring a pillow or a padded blanket up underneath the hips to elevate them higher than the knees. And keep breathing down into your belly. We're going to be here for just a few more minutes. And during that time, I'd like you to turn inward and grasp onto something that we're going to carry with us through our practice today. So I want to focus on such a difficult task, letting go or surrender. So we're not going to go big today. Choose something small, maybe something that's happened through your week that you find frustrating, maybe a feeling that you're grappling with. If everything's good in your neck of the woods, that's great, and you feel like you don't have anything that you need to let go. I'll invite you then to focus on just letting go of the breath, the simple inhale and letting go of the breath on the exhale. If something big comes up for you, something really heavy, maybe something that's no longer serving you, a deep emotional wound, back up a little bit. We don't need to go there today. Choose something smaller instead. There's a saying I like that says, The best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So we don't need to try to eat the whole elephant today. Turn your attention back to your breath, keeping the thing that you want to let go of in your mind's eye. But we turn back to the breath, and on your inhale, think of your thing, your feeling, your circumstance, your breath. And on the exhale, let it go. And we inhale, and on the exhale, as you let go, you may feel your shoulders start to soften. You may feel your spine grow a little taller. Try to start making your exhales a little longer than your inhales. We're going to do a lung detox here in just 1 second. We want to prep the lungs first. So inhale. And on the exhale, see if you can make it longer than the count of your inhale, drawing the belly all the way back to the spine. Maybe you get a little audible with your breath, really deepening from the throat on the exhale. Starting to light that fire in the belly. Bring the breath back to normal just for 2 beats. The next practice that we're going to go through, we're going to inhale deeply, and on our exhale, we're going to completely empty the lungs using an SH sound. So it'll sound like this. We inhale and we exhale, and we're going to do that until the lungs are completely empty. Towards the end of your lung capacity, you may start to feel a little shake in the abdomen, in the shoulders. That's okay. That's your prana, your energy starting to move around. We just want to detox the lungs, so we're going into our movements with clean air. So ready? Here we go. Inhale. Exhale, SH sound. Keep going, keep going. Inhale. Exhale again, SH. Inhale. Exhale, SH. Inhale. Exhale, see if you can make mine or yours longer than mine. SH. Inhale. One more time. Inhale. That should be a nice, big, bountiful, natural breath. And go ahead and return to your belly breathing. Take a moment to notice any difference in the amount of air you can intake, the length of your exhale, just the growth in your lung capacity. And on your next exhale, we're going to dive forward onto all fours. So you can get there in whatever way is comfortable, whether that's rolling right through the ankles, through the center, or kicking the feet off to the side and coming on to all fours. So when you get there, I'll walk you through a little alignment here. So knees are coming right below the hips. Wrists are directly underneath the shoulders. Tops of the feet are pressing down into the ground. If you're dehydrated and this feels not comfortable on the feet or you're prone to cramping, you can always curl the toes under onto the mat, okay? So in our hands, we're pressing into the fingertips and the meaty part of the hand between the forefinger and the thumb. So we're creating this little doming effect in the hands. It's going to help protect our wrists. If you have bad wrists or carpal tunnel and this is not comfortable, feel free to come up on the fists, just making sure your wrists stay right underneath underneath your elbows, but also your shoulders. All right, and then last but not least, we're pulling the belly button up towards the spine to protect the low back. We're pressing away from the mat in our hands, creating this slight doming effect in the chest cavity. Gaze is straight down so the neck is nice and long. Awesome. So find your alignment if you need another moment here. Otherwise, on the inhale, we're going to drop our belly. So tailbone shoots up to the sky. As we look forward, pulling the shoulders back, shoulder blades together. On the exhale, we're going to round through from the tailbone, doming out the chest cavity, exaggerating that dome, and dropping the crown of the head down towards the mat. Cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, shoulder blades together. We're in cow. Exhale, round through, dropping the crown and tail towards the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, round through. Awesome. This time we're going to bump the hips towards the left and turn and look past your right foot. Keeping the arms nice and straight. If you want to sink the hip all the way down to the heel, you certainly can. We inhale here for one breath, and our exhale is what moves us back through center as we take it to the other side. Hips drop to the right, we turn to look past our left foot. Inhale. Exhale is what moves you through center. One more time each side. Exhale through center, over to the right. Exhale through center. Perfect. We're going to come back to all fours here. Walk the hands just slightly out in space. So you've got this slight angle from the shoulders to the wrists. We're going to do our cat-cows again, but in the spirit of letting go. Nobody can see you. Maybe you're alone in your room, so I'm going to release some inhibitions here. So we're going to drop the hips all the way back to the heels. So we are in a modified child's pose, okay? We're going to inhale, pulling the tail like we did in cat, rounding through, coming up so then the shoulders are above the wrists. Drop the belly and press into the hands. Hips come back into child's pose. Okay, I'll show you that one more time and I'll let you play a little bit. So we inhale, pulling from the tailbone, up through, over the wrists. Exhale, drop back, child's pose. So we're just loosening up the fluid in the spine here. So go ahead and take 3 more rounds on your own, tucking the tail up and over, dropping the belly to sink back. One more time wherever you are. Excellent. We inhale to come back up to all fours. Big toes are going to come together. So you've got this like triangle with your feet. Knees come as wide as your yoga mat or wider, whatever's comfortable for you. As we sink the hips all the way back onto the heels and we start to crawl the belly, chest, and forehead down into extended child's pose. If this is not comfortable for you, if you have, for example, tight shoulders or a shoulder injury, come into traditional child's pose. You'd be knees together, arches together, hips back, with the arms shooting back behind you in space. So choose your child's pose, your balasana. And we're going to stay here for 3 breath cycles. So really let your exhales soften the hips, soften the shoulders. Energetically, you can imagine the spine lengthening out through the tailbone and extending out through the crown. On your next exhale, we're going to keep the hips right where they're at. We're going to walk the hands off the left side of the mat. We inhale to look forward. Exhale, release the forehead down towards the earth for this beautiful side body stretch. So yes, this is stretching and helping in the hip, the right hip, the obliques, the abdominals, but it's also stretching those little muscles in between the ribs, the intercostal muscles. And if those are tight, it's difficult for our lungs to expand because the tightness in those muscles is restricting the movement. So we're creating more space for our breath here, literally, by stretching those muscles. If you need a little more here, you can bring your right hand on top of your left hand. We're here for 2 more breath cycles. Inhale and exhale. Inhale through the nose, down into the belly. Exhale out through the mouth or nose. On your next exhale, we'll slowly crawl ourselves, staying nice and low, back through center as we take our arms over to the right. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to lower, forehead, chest down to the mat. It may feel much different on that side, and that's perfect. That's exactly how your body should be. Our body is not symmetrical. They each have their own body history, of course, individually, but then each side of our body has its own body history too. One more breath cycle. Inhale through the nose, down into the belly. And on your exhale, we'll crawl ourselves back to center in our extended child's pose. On your next inhale, we're going to lift the head and chest just slightly. So we're creating space here underneath our left arm. We're going to inhale, right arm is going to swing underneath the left armpit as we drop onto the right shoulder. The right ear comes down to the mat. We thread the needle. Again, if you have a shoulder injury, you can stay upright and take a seated twist. That's what we're doing here. We're twisting the spine, but also bringing a deep stretch into the shoulder girdle. Left hand can be extended up towards the front of the mat. Can be down by your face at a right angle for stability. Or if you need a little more, you can take a bind by taking your left hand around the small of your back and clasping the top of your right thigh. One more breath here. And on your exhale, we move using the left hand to press us back up to our child's position. And we take it to the other side. So thread the needle, left arm is going underneath the right armpit. As we sink down onto the left shoulder, the left ear, right arm is extended or at a 90-degree angle by your face or in a bind behind the small of your back. One more inhale. And on your exhale, we'll move ourselves back through center, slowly bringing ourselves up to all fours. We walk the hands slightly out in space. This time we are going to curl the toes under. And we inhale, and on the exhale, we're sending the hips up high. So however you need to get there is totally fine. Do what your body wants today. Otherwise, we will all lift the hips and meet each other in downward facing dog. So when you get there, you can walk your dog out, straightening and bending opposite legs. But before you do that, let's find a moment of stillness here. So we're clawing through the fingertips to protect the shoulders. Elbow creases are either shining towards each other or towards the front of the mat. The integrity of the spine is more important than the straightness in your legs. So if you need to bend your knees to get a more straight spine, please do so. Or you can also come up onto the toes if that feels better for you. We're drawing the belly button up towards the spine to protect the low back. Ears are right by the biceps. If the hips are tight, widen your stance. If the shoulders are tight, widen your stance. We're here for 3 more breaths. Just bringing some release to the low back. And at the end of your next exhale, we're going to start to walk up towards the front of the mat. So first, we're going to bring the right foot across the left leg over to the left side of the mat. Then, left leg wraps around the front over to the right side of the mat. Again, right over left, left over right, until eventually you find yourself at the top of your mat, feet by the hands in a forward fold. When you get there, release the crown of the head down towards the earth. Bend the knees. Again, like we said, we want to be bending from the waist, keeping the length in the spine. Clasp opposite elbows if that feels good. Maybe you sway gently side to side. If you have any spinal issues, we don't want to drop the crown to the head. Instead, I would have you come here looking out about a 45-degree angle. You can still do some sways if that feels good. Excellent. When you've finished up with your movement, we're going to bring the fingers right in front of the feet. We're going to straighten the left leg, turn and look underneath the left armpit. We're going to get this stretch all the way from the heel, back of the leg, wrapping around the IT band up to the top of the hip. Inhale and exhale. We bend the left leg, straighten the right leg, look underneath the right armpit. Exhale, bend the right leg, straighten the left. Exhale, bend the left, straighten the right. Exhale, bring it back to center, whether your legs or your knees are bent or legs are straight. And either way, we're all going to roll up, root to rise, to mountain. Arms are going to come up with us, overhead, palms kiss together. And we drop the hands right at the heart space, Andale Mudra. And we find ourselves in mountain Tadasana. You can keep your hands here, but if this isn't comfortable, we'll come to the traditional mountain stance with hands at our sides, palms shining towards the front of the mat. Beautiful. So in this stance, we're active through the legs, knees are engaged. We're pulling energy up through the midline, the groin, the inner thighs. We're pressing equal weight into the heel, the ball joint of the big toe, ball joint of the pinky toe. So we've got this inverted triangle, which serves as our foundation. Shoulder blades are pulled together, shoulders are down away from the ears. Pelvis is tucked right underneath the heart space. Heart space is directly underneath the head space. Awesome. We're going to flow through a modified sun salutation. We don't want to work too hard today because it's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Okay, here we go. Inhale, we're going to bend the knees, drop the hands, bring them up overhead, palms kiss together. On the exhale, bend the knees, bend from the hips. If you want to hook your thumbs right into that hip pocket to make sure that that's where you're bending from, that's a helpful cue you can use on yourself. And we fold all the way down into forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, we're going to lift up halfway. So we're creating this figure 7 shape with the body. Hands can be on the ground, on the shins, on the tops of the thighs. Belly is pulled back towards the spine. Shoulder blades are pinching together. Gaze is straight down. Inhale. Exhale, release. Uttanasana, forward fold. Palms come down to the mat right in front of the feet. We step the left foot back and the right foot back. We find ourselves in plank at the top of a push-up. We inhale, and on the exhale, moving from your center, we're going to go back up into downward facing dog. So it looks like this. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. We're here for 1 breath. And your exhale is what sends you back up to the top of the mat. Take as many steps as you need to get there. We find ourselves in forward fold, Uttanasana. Exhale, rolls you right up to mountain. Arms come up overhead, palms together, descend at the heart space. So that's 1 round. We're going 5 rounds with this modified sun salutation. So here we go. Arms go down to come up. Maybe you look up at your hands. If it's in your practice to do a slight back bend, you certainly can. On the exhale, we're going down, Uttanasana. Inhale lifts you up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Palms come down to the mat. Left foot back, right foot back. We inhale here in plank for 1 breath. Exhale sends the hips up high, downward facing dog. We're here for 1 breath. And the exhale sends you up. Forward fold, root to rise, rolling right up to mountain, arms up overhead, palms descend at the heart space. We're going right back in, arms go down to come up. Back bend if you want to. On the exhale, we're going down, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we fold. Palms come down to the mat. Left foot back, right foot back. Inhale and plank. Exhale, hips up high, downward facing dog. Inhale, and your exhale sends you up to the top of the mat. Forward fold and root to rise. Palms descend at the heart space. Number 3, here we go. Inhale, down to come up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, lifts you up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down to the mat. Plank for 1 inhale, and on the exhale, downward facing dog. We're here for 1 breath. Exhale sends you up to the top of the mat, root to rise, coming up to mountain. Arms overhead, descend at the heart space. Arms go down to come up on the inhale. Exhale, we fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down, left foot back, right foot back. Top of a push-up for 1 inhale. Exhale sends the hips up high. Downward facing dog. Here for 1 breath. Inhale. And the exhale is what moves you. Feet to hands, root to rise. Arms up overhead. Descend at the heart space. Last one. You're doing awesome. Inhale, arms go down to come up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale lifts you up halfway. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down to the mat. Left foot back, right foot back. Inhale here. Exhale sends you up. Downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. This will serve as our resting posture for right now. One more big inhale. And exhale, take a slow walk up to the top of the mat. Feet meet the hands in a deep forward fold. So we're going to do a deep bend in the knees, keeping the knees above the ankles, bringing the belly right to the tops of the thighs. Drop the crown. If your body wants to take some movement here, if that's what it's telling you, maybe a little sway in the hips, go right ahead. And then find some stillness. We're going to bring just the fingertips to the mat here. We'll work on a little bit of balance. So we're going to shift the weight into the right foot. Left foot is going to come up off of the mat and just send it back for a low lunge. When we get here, right knee is over the right ankle. We're spiking through the heel of the back leg. Fingertips can be on the mat if they reach there. If you have blocks with you and you want to come up on some blocks, that's totally fine too, but our gaze is straight forward. We inhale and we use the exhale to power us up. High lunge. So adjust your feet if you need to here. Arms, you've got many choices. So we can be up overhead, biceps by the ears. You can be hands on the hips. If you're feeling quite unstable and you want to have both hands on that front thigh, go right ahead. If you're really tight in the shoulders, you can interlace the fingers behind you, like you're praying. And loop the shoulders up and back, drawing the fingers down in space. We're here for 3 more breaths. I know you're tired. And on your next exhale, we're going to pivot on that back foot, opening up to warrior 2. So when you get here, so torso, pelvis is facing the left side of your mat. Your back foot, we're putting pressure into the outside of the heel or the outside of the foot. The arch of the back foot and the heel of the front foot are in line with each other. Okay? Right arm comes out to the front of the mat. Left arm shoots to the back of the mat. And we look out past our front fingers. This is one of my favorite reminders throughout my day. Sometimes I'll bring my arms here to remember that we reach forward to the future, reach back to remember the past, but the heart stays centered in the present. You're doing awesome. We're going to inhale, flip the palm of that front hand. Exhale, front hand is going up to the ceiling as the back hand drops to the leg, giving a side body stretch. We inhale, exhale, lower body is staying right where it's at. Right arm drops either to the thigh or down by the foot. Dealer's choice. Left arm either comes up to the ceiling or extends out towards the front of your mat. Neck is nice and neutral, looking out in front of you, soft gaze. We inhale, exhale, we're going right back into warrior 2. Excellent. Inhale, exhale, hands, you can get a little fun with it, are going to spiral towards the front of the mat, framing the foot on the, framing the right foot. We're going to inhale and pull that left or that right foot back to meet the left. You find yourself back in plank. We're going to inhale, exhale, hips are going up high, downward facing dog. Inhale, and on your exhale, just the left foot is stepping up in between the hands, and we find our low lunge on the left side. Inhale, exhale, we power up the high lunge. Knee over ankle, back heel spiked, pelvis is right underneath the heart space is right underneath the head space. Choose your arm placement, either down by your sides, biceps by the ears, hands on the hips, hands on the thighs, or interlace behind you. We're here for 3 breaths. I invite you to come back to what you were letting go today. Think about it on your inhale and think about letting it go on your exhale. One more breath cycle here. On your next inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, pivot on the back foot. We open up to warrior 2. If you need to make adjustments to your legs, feel free. If you need a rest, feel free. Front arm towards the future, back arm towards the past. Heart center in the present. Flip the palm on the front hand. If you're a visual person, here's another visual for you. Imagine whatever it is you're trying to let go sitting in the palm of your hand. You can see it just at the end of your reach. You're holding it. We inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to throw it back, peaceful warrior. There it goes. Big inhale here. The exhale fuels our movement As we come down, extended side angle, right arm either up towards the ceiling, out towards the front of the mat. Left arm is either on your thigh or hand down by the arch of your foot. We're strong through the legs. Inhale. Exhale sends you right back into warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, exhale, spiral the hands, pivot the foot as we come to frame that left foot, drawing the left back to meet the right. Go ahead and drop your knees. Arches together, hips back onto the heels, and sink into your child's pose. One more deep inhale here. And on your exhale, draw yourself up to all fours. Curl the toes under for one inhale. Exhale, hips are going up high. We're just using down dog as a transition here. So we inhale and exhale. We step to the front of the mat. We're going to stay nice and low. We're going to walk heel toe. The feet to a 45-degree angle. So heels are still on the mat, toes are spilling off of the mat. If your fingertips reach towards the ground, you can use that as a guide. Otherwise, if you are a little bit more versed in your practice, you've been on your mat for a while, you can definitely not use a guide, hands at the heart, and we start to drop our center. We're coming down into a squat. So if this feels impossible and you have a blanket close by, you can bring a blanket right underneath your heels just to give you a little bit more elevation. Or if you want to keep the fingertips on the ground so that you're at more of an angle, bringing the heels up off of the mat, that's great. Otherwise, we're going to bring elbows to inner knees, hands together at the heart space, and we sink the tailbone down to the ground as close as we can. And last but not least, because we want to keep integrity in the spine, we're bringing the heart space towards the thumbs. So imagine shooting your heart space right towards your thumbs. One more deep inhale here. And on your exhale, one hand will come down in front of the pelvis. One hand wraps around to the back as we gently guide ourselves down onto the mat. When you get there, we're going to sink all the way back onto our back. Knees come up to the chest. Couple options here. You can interlace the fingers around the shins. You can grab each shin individually if that feels right for your body. You can separate the legs a little more than having the knees together if you need a little more room. Or if that still feels impossible or uncomfortable, bring the hands right to the hamstrings behind the knees. You can always bring a pillow or a blanket underneath the low back if the low back does not feel good against the mat. And we find a moment of stillness. On your next exhale, we'll drop both feet to the ground. We're going to, again, heel toe, the feet wider than the mat. So the feet are going to be parallel with the long edge of the mat, but off of them. Okay? Arms come wide. We inhale, and on the exhale, we drop both knees over to the left. Ooh, yeah. Stretches the groin, the front of the hip, the quad, the IT band. And because we have our arms wide, palms up to the sky, we're encouraging a release and stretch in the pectoral muscles, the chest cavity. On your next exhale, engage the belly button to the spine as we draw the knees towards center and bring them over to the other side. Exhale, belly button to spine, knees come back through center. We walk the feet together, moving right through the hip space. Soles of the feet are coming together, arch to arch, toes kiss together as the knees drop open wide. Hands can come to the belly and the heart space or the tops of the thighs. What we don't want is any pushing down on the legs. Let the knees do their thing. They know what they want. We just let gravity work for us. So knees open wide, soles of the feet together, Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle. If this feels incredibly vulnerable, you can always bring a blanket to rest right on top of the low abdomen, the groin, the pelvis, the tops of the thighs, bringing an extra weight and security to this area. On your next exhale, we'll bring hands to the outsides of the thighs and gently guide the knees together. Legs shoot out long, left foot towards the left edge or left corner of the mat, right foot to the right corner of the mat. Hands come down to the sides, palms up towards the ceiling. As we start to bring a softness to the body for our final pose, Shavasana, or corpse pose. We come into corpse at the end of a practice to encourage and become familiar with allowing things to die. So we come into corpse pose to allow everything that we brought onto our mat to die with us here so that we can start again when we get off the mat. We let go of what we brought to the mat so we can begin again. Stay here for as long as you wish today, as long as time will allow. Inhaling, I trust. Exhale, I let go. I will stop the video here in just a moment, but I would encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you can. Later tonight, drink plenty of water. Your muscles may have done things that they haven't done in quite some time or have moved in a new way. So I would encourage you to use moist heat. So what I mean by that is a hot bath, a hot shower, a moist hot towel on any sore areas, maybe utilizing some Epsom salt in your bath as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for practicing with me today. Thank yourselves for showing up and doing the work. I was just here to guide you. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you all hopefully